All right, so today's class is database management with myKW. There have actually been some recent updates to the system as of, I think, last night. So we will be going over some brand new stuff today. But to get started, I am on the home page of mykw.kw.com. I'll go ahead and give you guys a moment to log in if you're following along. So from the home page of myKW, we are going to be working in eEdge, and we're going to go into our contacts. So the best way to get in would be to click this link here in the control panel, which is View Contacts. Alright, and what this does is it brings us into our database. This is where we can see all the contacts that we currently have in our database. On this page, we can search for contacts. We can go up here to the top to the Find a Contact box. And this is best if you are looking for like individual people. So you can go up here and search by their name. And they'll pop up, and then you can click on that and view their information. You can search by email. This is bringing up all the people with that email. By phone number, what have you. So you can search. Let's see if this works. Do we have any phone numbers in here? Yep. So I started to type in a phone number, and you can see it pops up here. So this search box here is best for searching for one person. Down here below, we do have quite a few things displayed and different ways that we can sort the contacts here. Of course, we have the name over to the left. This little bubble here. They looks like they just changed the colors on these too. I've never seen a black one before. This little circle, I believe it's different colors based on how you have them categorized. So these people are in this database as a personal contact. So this little circle is black. Do Now, this column shows the reminders that you may have set up for these people. Doesn't look like we have any reminders set now, but if we wanted to add one, we can click the Add button. From here, this box pops up, Add a Reminder. For type, you can choose a meeting, phone call, or task. The due date, you can choose when you would like to get this done, maybe on Monday. And then what time that for the reminder. And you can add in whatever notes you need. I can put in something like so I can add in information and then click Save. And then you can see this updates right away, and there's this little bell button with the number of reminders here. You can click on that and then see what reminders are due for this person. From here we can mark it as complete. We can snooze it, push it back, or add a new reminder. I'll just go ahead and mark this one as complete. And then it goes away. In this contact column, it's showing us what information we have for this person. Looks like for me, we have an email and a phone number. If you click on these, you can actually see their information. We can see what email address we have on file. And then actually, if you click on this, it'll go into compose a message through eEdge. So you can contact them directly from this page. And then if you click on phone number, it'll show you what numbers you have on file. Looks like we have a mobile number for this contact. Groups, this shows whether or not this person is in a group. Looks like all of our contacts are in groups, and that's why this little guy is highlighted orange. If this person wasn't in groups, I believe that this would just be blue. And then you could always click on this
And it'll show you what what groups this contact is assigned to, and if any of those groups are assigned to a campaign as well. And then from here you can add them to more groups by checking the boxes. You can also remove them from groups by unchecking the boxes. So I'm going to click Save. There we go. Actually, yeah, when somebody isn't in a group, it just has the Add button here. Marketing, this is showing whether or not this person is on any drip campaigns. That's why it has this little water droplet or drop of something. For me, under this contact, which is me, the little droplet is grayed out. That's because I have unsubscribed. So I'm unable to add this person to another campaign because they have unsubscribed. And when I highlight that, it shows me why. But if I wanted to add this person to a marketing campaign, I can click the Add button. And it only shows what campaigns you currently have running, so only your active campaigns. Looks like the only active campaign we have here is our monthly newsletter. So if I wanted to add Scott to this, I can come over here and check that box. And then once I hit Save, you'll see that this little droplet is now purple, which means that this contact is on a drip campaign. But I'm going to go ahead and remove Scott because I know he doesn't want to get any more emails. So I'm just going to uncheck the box and click Save, and now he's no longer on that campaign. Looking for, I'll show you guys this when we add a new contact, but you can add in information. If they're a buyer, you can put in their budget and the areas that they're looking. So that's just showing here. Listing search, you can set up listing searches for your contacts, very similar to what you can do in the MLS. Basically, you just go in and choose whatever categories or things that they're looking for, and then they can get emails sent to them with new listings. For me, this contact here, it says this little house is grayed out because I've unsubscribed, so I'm unable to add them to a listing search. But if you wanted to add someone, of course, again, we can go in the column next to that person and click Add. And this is how we can set up that search. So we can add a new search here. Let's just say Orlando. We want to look at only active properties, but you could look at active, pending, under contract, or only pending or under contract. The frequency, how often this person would like to be emailed. You can do daily, twice a week, weekly, twice a month, monthly, or never. Let's just do weekly. And then to define the search area, you can search by name or by map, which is pretty cool. So let's search by name. I can enter in a city or zip code. Let's just see if we can get Orlando to pop up. Yep. And you can add in multiple. I don't know what's around Orlando. I'm not from Florida. Orlando Beach. Perfect. So maybe this person is looking in multiple areas. You can add that in. And then down below you can add in more search criteria, their price range. Let's get Scott a really nice house. Let's say $3 million to $5 million. You can add in however many beds and baths. Square footage, if you know that kind of information, what they're looking for, lot size, stories, single or multiple, property types, listing types, features, and then other wants or needs. I don't know. This is new. Looks like I can't type in anything here. This might be something that you just add in afterward as like a note for you. I'm not totally sure. But once you have set this up, figured out all the filters of everything that they'd like to see, you can click Save. And now you can see this little house is blue, meaning that Scott is now getting those listing alerts.
And when somebody is set up on listing alerts, you can actually get more information right here. This properties column is showing how many properties they have viewed or favorited. And when you click on these numbers, you can actually, it'll take you in and you can see those properties that they have saved. I'm going to go ahead and remove him from this listing search. So when I clicked on that house, it's showing all of our listing searches that we have set up. You can, of course, set up multiple. I can add a new listing search down here. Right here it's showing this is the one that we do have set up, Orlando, and then these are those filters. I can change the schedule here. Maybe this person, you know what they're looking for, but they are not quite ready to buy. You can always set this up and then set this to never. Oh, what is the code to join? No problem. So that's that. Sometimes I think it's kind of funny that it has never on here, but that's just so you can set this up, and then maybe they're not quite ready. You can set this to never, and then when they are ready to start looking, you can switch this to a different frequency. I can edit the search, but I'm just going to delete this. And there we go. Source, this is how this contact was added to your database, whether they were manually entered or imported. Maybe they came in from your website. That information will display here. Last activity, you can see the last activity for this person. If you actually just highlight these little icons next to that, or click on them, here we go. Looks like I removed a contact from a group, but it's not quite showing that yet. It says in 53 minutes, but it looks like I updated that maybe before 10 days ago. And then this little name card thing says that the contact looks like on April 22nd. This is when the contact actually updated their subscription settings. This must be when this contact unsubscribed. So you can just click on those and see the little notes there, and then if you wanted to get more detailed info, you can click View More Activity. It'll show you more about that. Status, this is really just for your personal preference of how you'd like to categorize your contacts. We usually just set everybody to warm, but there are other options. And you can change it from this page as well by clicking on that. There's lead, hot, warm, cold, retry, pending, sold, and trash. Lead will put them into the My Leads section, so just keep that in mind. And then trash, it doesn't actually delete them, it just puts them into a trash folder that keeps them hidden. But I'll show you guys how you can actually fully delete people from your database. And then under actions, if you click more, we have a few things that we'll go over more when we go into an actual contacts info. There's a follow-up wizard, which is brand new. We can send listings, which is similar to that listing search, except this is like a one-time email rather than subscribing the person to get alerts. We can add a note for this person and then send an email, and of course this would be sent through your eEdge email. So that's a little bit about the View Contacts page. When you're looking at your database, we will actually come back to this page. But let's start out by adding a contact. So to do that, I'm going to go up to the top of my page and click Contacts. And I'm going to click this third option here, which is Create Contact. Alright, so this page brings us to where we can add a new person to our database. And there's lots of info you can add, but you don't necessarily have to add all of this for somebody. So it starts out by status. You can choose whatever status works best for you. Like I said, we usually add people in as warm. Oops. Name. So we do need a first name and a last name for the database. So what we'll do is sometimes if you don't know a person's last name, you can add in a period. If you don't know the first name, what we'll do is we'll put in maybe you don't know the person's name at all, you just have their email. We'll put in the email as the first name and a period as the last name, but there has to be something in both of these boxes in order to add someone. So let's add Anne. All right, we've added in a first name and a last name. There also has to be some sort of contact information to add this person. You can't add somebody if you only have their name. You need to have either a phone number, an email address, or some sort of mailing address. So I'm just going to keep moving along. Type. We have buyer, seller, buyer/seller, lead, renter, investor, past client, agent, vendor, personal contact, and other. Let's just mark Anne as a vendor. Subtype. So subtype and category, these are very, very similar, and there isn't a right way or a wrong way to do this. This is really just to help you sort through your contacts and keep track of them. So vendor, let's say for subtype I could put marketing or something, the company they work for. So you could add that in here. It's just whatever you think will help you keep track. When we go back to our View All Contacts page and we actually do a search in there, there are search boxes for category and subtype. So you can keep track of that. I'm trying to think of maybe like a title company or something would be a good example of that. Phone number, we can add that in. Email. All this over here is optional. Nickname, gender, company. Job title. If you do have the person's birthday or purchase anniversary for past clients, it would be great to add this in. There are actually campaigns for birthdays and purchase anniversaries, so I recommend if you have this information, add it in and then add them to those campaigns, because then they'll get a nice little happy birthday or happy anniversary message from you every year. Notes and referral info, you can add that in if you have it. Address, you can add in their address. This box does need to be checked if you want to create mailing labels through eEdge, so if you're adding someone, make sure that that's checked. Secondary details, this would be information about a spouse or another family member that you'd like to add in. You can add in their first name, last name, nickname, their email and phone number. Additional family members, like maybe if you add in a husband for somebody, you can add in their kids' names here. And then for relationship, there are quite a few different choices here as well. Information and time frame, this is that info that was showing up on the View Contacts page. You can add in their time frame, whether they are now, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6+ months, or just looking. Looking in, this would be the city or area, and then their budget. You can just type that in. Emails. So here we have a little box that says check here to send a welcome email to this contact. So if I check this, this pops open and we can see the welcome email message. So what this is, when you check this box and send this email, it basically sets up an account for them on your eEdge website. So that's your KW Realty site. You can see here it says I've signed you up for my website. Now you have access to homes for sale on the market today. So also in this email, it's going to create a login for them to your KW Realty site. So I know that's kind of confusing because you have multiple sites through Keller Williams, the main one being your Playster site. So Just keep in mind that maybe if you are using your Playster site as your main site, or you're using a different site, like a private site that you purchased, you may not want to send out this welcome email because it's basically going to direct them to your KW Realty site. So just keep that in mind. You could also change this message if you wanted to. You can update all of this text. If you wanted to say like, hey, I made a login for you, but please disregard. This is the actual link to my website, what have you. But I would probably just not send this if you're not using your eEdge site as your main website. So I'm just going to uncheck that. And then groups, if I click on groups and expand this, I can see all of my groups that I currently have in eEdge. We've got some funny ones in here, Disney characters, Pokemon trainers. I'm going to add Anne to my SOI group. I can check whatever boxes. People can be in multiple groups, but once I check that, I can click Save. And there we go. I've successfully created this contact. So if you've been in eEdge before and managed your contacts in here, you'll see that this page actually looks way different. But I'm going to come back to this. We're just going to keep moving along for now, and then I'll go back into the individual contacts, and I can show you around this new setup. But one of the main things you want to do before you get your database set up is create some groups. Creating groups is the best way to manage your contacts, especially if you're going to have a lot of people in there. So to do that, I'm going to click Contacts up at the top, and I'm going to click Manage Groups. So from this page, we can basically edit our groups here. We can create groups, delete them, add people to them, add them to campaigns, lots of stuff on here. So you can see we have a lot of groups in here. We went through one day to figure out how many you could have, and I think it was over 50. But just keep that in mind. If you have like a crazy amount of groups, you might not be able to have all of them. But on here, we can see all of our groups. If we wanted to create a new group, we can go up here to the top right and type in the name of that group. And click Save, and that will now create this group down below. Awesome. Yeah, so what I can do, oh, it changed the name. Oh no, it didn't. Just kidding. That is interesting. This must be from last year. So I can actually sort through these different ways. I clicked on name, and that's going to sort them by alphabetical and numerical order. So it's starting with the numbers, and then it goes into alphabetical order after that. If I do reverse, you can see this is that test group that I just added. So the names of the contacts on the left. This column shows the number of people in those groups, and then if you actually click on this number, it'll take you in and you can see all of those people. We'll do that here in a moment. Contact type. So this is pretty cool. So let's say this SOI group. This is my sphere of influence. This is probably the first group that most of you will be adding to your database. But what I can do is I can assign a type to this group. And what that means is if I click this Add button next to SOI, when you get a new contact with this type, it'll automatically be added to this group. So that's pretty cool. Anytime you add somebody, and let's say I want anybody who is a personal contact associated with my SOI group. So anytime I add somebody and mark them as personal contact, they will automatically be added to this SOI group. So it's basically just taking out a step for you. So if I click Save, there we go. Now contact types, everybody in this group is a personal contact. Same sort of thing with associated campaign. If I click Add, any eligible contacts added to this group will be automatically added to the associated campaign. So down below, it's only showing our active campaigns. So if I click monthly newsletter, just click the box next to whatever campaign you'd like, and I click save, now we can see anybody who is added to this SOI group will automatically be put on the monthly newsletter. So like I said, that basically just took out a step for you. In the past, even if you added somebody to a group and everybody else was on that monthly newsletter, you would still have to individually add that person. So it's really nice that they made this automatic for us. I'm just going to remove this and click save, and then I removed that campaign. This little pencil button allows you to change the name of the campaign. I'm sorry, the name of the group. And then you can delete groups by clicking this blue X. Please note, so that one just deleted right away because nobody was in it, but let's see, coworkers. If I wanted to delete this group though that has people in it, it's going to give me a warning message. It says there are 5 contacts assigned to this group. So basically what this does is it doesn't actually delete the contacts from the group, it just deletes the folder itself. So deleting this group will not delete any assigned contacts. Optionally, select a new group assignment. So if you wanted to move these people and delete this folder, you could. You could select a different group to put them in. If you don't select a group, it's just going to leave them in all contacts. They'll still be in your database, but they won't be in a group. So just keep that in mind. And then, like I said before, under number of contacts, you can see how many people are in that group. And when you actually click on the number, it takes you into basically view all contacts. But now we have a filter set up. So we're only looking at contacts in the coworkers group. So there are different filters that you can set up to search through your contacts. I do want to show you guys that. So I'm going to clear this filter and just go back into my whole database. I think there's probably only one other person in there. Yeah, you can see Anne. She actually has a different color dot next to her. It's green. Looks like the vendors are green. One thing I did forget to point out was the sorted by button up here. So this is really useful if you have a lot of people in your database. You can sort them by last activity, first name, last name, budget, last outreach, source, status, the date they were created, type, and properties saved. It's basically most of this information on this page. So let's say we wanted to search by first name, or sort by first name. Right now the little down arrow is selected, so that means this is in reverse alphabetical order. You can see it started with Scott and then it goes down to Anne. If we wanted to switch that and do first name alphabetical order first, I click the up arrow, so it's basically bringing the first letter of the alphabet up toward the top and going down from there. So that's just one way you can sort through your contacts. You can search any one of these and then use the up or down arrows to get the right order. But filters, okay, so if you have a lot of people in your database and you're looking for specific people, this filters button is going to be very useful. So I'm going to click on this. And now we're on the contact search filters page. So there are a lot of different ways that you can sort through people in here. Starting up at the left, top left, you can see contact info. You can search by name, by phone number, email, or mailing address. You can type in any part of that and it'll search for them. Exists. Okay, so next to phone, it says exists, all. But if we click on this, maybe you only wanted to search for people who have a phone number. If I change this to yes and then click search, now it's only showing me people for phone number. It says phone exists, yes, so it's only showing me people in my database that have a phone number. This is great if you're doing like a calling day. You could sort this out and then only see people with phone numbers and then make your way through your database and start making calls. I'm going to go ahead and clear that filter. and then go back in by clicking the filters button. Same sort of thing for mailing address. If you want to see people who do have mailing addresses only, or only see people who don't have them, you can do that. Select yes or no and then hit search and it'll sort them out. You can search by status. Maybe you only want to see your cold people so you can get back in touch with them. You can search by email address status. Maybe you only want to see undeliverable or unsubscribed people so you can remove them from your database or reach out to them a different way. You can search by that way. Lead source. So these are things that you just manually added in. So when we added that contact, there was a referral info box. Oh, actually, lead source. So I think this would be like whether they were entered or not. I don't think that's the referral info. Oh no, that's the referral info here. Yes. Okay, so this is kind of what I was referring to earlier, like the category, and then you can see subtype up here. This is basically whatever you chose, whatever you entered in as like kind of like a note for your contact. You can search, maybe if you marked a bunch of people and wrote like their elementary school PTA on there and that was their category, you could search by that and it'll only show you people who have that note in their category section. Notifications, you can search for people who have open requests, people who have CMAs set up, or property info or showing info. Marketing, you can filter by group. Maybe you only want to see people in a specific group. Saved listing search, you only want to see people who have listing searches set up or don't have them. And then campaigns, if you want to see people who are or are not on campaigns, you can select one of those. And then under contact profile, you can search by type. Maybe you only want to see your buyers, sellers, what have you. Subtype, the city they're looking in or the budget. And then you can search by date as well, contacts that were, the date they were created, the last time that you reached out to them. Maybe you want to search like your people who you haven't reached out to in a while. You can do that. And then their last active people. You can search by people who are active recently. Reach out to them and say, hey, I saw that you were looking around on my website. Did you find anything you like? Yada yada. So that's the filters. Like I said, really useful if you are somebody who has a lot of people in your database. This is going to help you break this down and find those people that you're looking for. Just want to make sure. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to exit out of there. So we can actually delete contacts from this page as well. You can go in and delete people. There used to be a way on this page to delete people individually. You could click more, and then there was a delete button here. So to delete people individually, you would actually have to click on their name and go in, which I will show you. But if you wanted to bulk delete people or bulk update people, we actually have that option from this page, which is great. So I'm going to select multiple contacts. And now up at the top we have a couple new options that have popped up. We have bulk update and print labels. This button just creates an awesome, kind of like a spreadsheet that you can use to print mailing labels on. But if we click bulk update, we have two options here. It says, what would you like to do with these 5 contacts? So I have 5 people selected. I can either edit the records or I can send them to the trash. So I'm going to start by editing them. So I have edit the records selected and I'm going to click continue. Choose the fields you wish to change on these 5 selected people. So a few different options here. This is pretty cool. You can add or remove people from groups or campaigns. So if I check this box, now this is clickable. I can add to groups, remove from groups, add to campaigns, or remove from campaigns. So you can go in here, choose whatever selection, and then select those boxes. Maybe I want to add these people to all of these groups. I can do that. Category. We can change the category on here. We can also remove the category from all these people by clicking clear field. But maybe I want to add all these people as SLM coworkers or something and just make a note. I can add this in for their category. I can update the company for all of these people or clear it, basically delete the company. Oops. I can change the status of all these people. Maybe I selected a bunch of people and did some calling and realized that they aren't really ready to make a move yet. I can change them all to cold. And then same sort of thing for note. This is great if you're working on your database and you had like a calling day. You can add a note for this person that said called 11:15. So this is a great way to update people, multiple people at once, so you don't have to individually go into every person's profile and add a note or make these changes. So once you've selected that, I'm just going to uncheck this box and click Update Now. Those changes will go through. We can also delete people, multiple people from this page. I'm going to select those same people again and click that bulk update button. And this time I'm going to select send these contacts to the trash. So when you check this box, only this box, it says these contacts will stop receiving any automated emails, including campaigns and listing alerts. So this doesn't actually delete them. Like I said, it just moves them to a trash folder and then they basically just stop receiving any contact from you. But if you want to actually remove them from your database, you can click permanently delete the records. Check out this scary warning message. There's no undoing it. These people will permanently be deleted, so make sure you actually want to delete them before you do this because you can't get them back. But once you have this good to go, you know you for sure want to remove these people, you can click delete now, and there we go. If you're deleting a lot of people at once, I think it only deletes 500 people at a time. So we've had people where we needed to like clear out a whole group and they've had a couple thousand. You can select all of them and then hit delete, go through that process, but it may make you do it a few times. Like I said, last time I checked, you can only delete 500 at a time. All right, so let's check out that new change that has happened in here, where basically when you go in to view the contact, that page is completely different as of, I think, last night. So what I'm going to do is, if I wanted to go in and maybe edit a person's information or add new information or just view what we have on file for them, I can click on that person's name and it's going to bring me in. So I'm going to click on me, Bailey Smith. So this is brand new. All the same info is here if you have experience with this. It just looks a little different. I actually like this a lot better now. So it takes me in. I can see my info up at the top. I'm a personal contact. I was entered manually. My lovely initials BS. It says warm. This is my contact status here. If you click on this, you can actually change that. I'll go ahead and leave that as warm. This address here, I believe I set up a listing search for that at one point. Or maybe this must be the address that is entered for me, which is very strange because I don't know where that address came from. Okay, so I think maybe I did a search with this once. I don't totally know where this is coming from, but if we find it on here while we're working, we'll go ahead and delete it. So down below, this is our dashboard. I can see any properties that have been viewed or saved by this person. If this person does have anything there, I believe you will be able to click these and be brought in. This is the most recent update for this person. Our most recent activity. It looks like contact updated subscription settings on April 22nd. This is the home information. This is like the area that I was looking in, Nashville, and then I could enter the price range and beds and baths. I can add people to groups from this page. If I hadn't unsubscribed, I could also add this person to marketing by clicking on these. So very similar to that other page, I can click on this, groups, and I can check the boxes for whatever groups. It doesn't look like, I believe I'm already in a group, so I don't know if it shows the groups I'm already in. Let's see, maybe I wasn't in a group. I'm going to click save. Okay, yeah, I guess I was not in a group before. So now we can see that little plus sign is gone and the little group button is orange, which means I am in a group. So if you click on this again, there we go. You can see the groups that this person is actually in at the top, and then you can choose to select more or unselect this one. I'll just go ahead and exit out of there though. Over here we can click on this and see the email, the phone number, and then any reminders. I can add a reminder here. This is exact same thing as we did at the beginning of class on that View Contacts page. Down below is our timeline. You can see basically activity for this person. You can see when they were assigned to campaigns. Looks like the most recent thing was that reminder that I added. It says phone call to set up a listing appointment. You can mark incomplete here. I think if you actually just click on this as well, there we go. It can take you into that reminder and you can edit that. This is basically just a timeline of this person's activity. You can scroll through that. Details, this is where you can actually see the person's personal information. We can see my birthday here, July 27th. I added that in. You can also add in the purchase anniversary directly from this page. And then down below is that contact info. Mobile number, email, you can see that I've unsubscribed. You can now add in social profiles, which is pretty cool. So if I click on this green little circle, I can now add a social media link. So maybe I know this person's Facebook or Instagram. I can go in here and select whatever social media profile and then add in the link there. So that's pretty cool. Family and friends, no information provided. But if I wanted to edit this, I can go up here and click the edit button. Maybe I just got some more information for this person. And basically this opens up and we can add in any additional information we might have. So very similar to that add a contact page or create contact. You can see that info here, make any changes, and then click save. Properties, I wonder if this is where that address is. Here we go. Okay, so for some reason my mailing address, I think I did this because I set up a CMA once, which we'll go over. But so this address up here is the mailing address for this person, and it is under properties, which I think is kind of interesting. It's not under details now, it's under properties. So I can see any addresses that I have added for this person here. I can add a new address by clicking this button up at the top right. You can see the address here and see that it's marked as a mailing address. And if I wanted to edit that, I can do that from here. Send CMA Pro. Interesting. They took that out. Okay, so before you used to be able to create a CMA. It wasn't a great one. It wasn't super pretty or anything, but you were allowed to do that. You could go through and select, you can add in an address and then select comparable properties and then send it out, download it, what have you. And it looks like they removed that. So unless you have Market Leader Pro, you cannot create a CMA from eEdge. So just keep that in mind. That looks like that is something that they took away. All right, you can add in saved searches from here. This is that listing search. If you want to set that up, you can click this green plus. And this is exactly what we went over at the beginning of class. This is basically just setting up a listing alert. Very, very similar to what you can set up through your MLS. So I'm not going to go over that again. Down below, you can see any properties that Bailey has favorited from those listing searches that you've set up. And then down here, it's trying to get you to sign up for Pro so you can send a CMA. That's so interesting that they took that out. Transactions, you can add in transaction info for this contact. You can add that in by clicking this button here. This is also new. So you can keep track of what transactions you've had with this person. All right, so the last thing to go over in here is this More button. Like I said, if you wanted to delete an individual contact, you can do that by clicking More over here and then delete. This will just delete me, won't delete anybody else. But there are some new things in here. Follow-up wizard, so this is brand new. Let's go ahead and click on this. So it looks like this is kind of similar to like the reminders that you can set up. So follow-up wizard, what are we doing? We are either calling or meeting a person or sending an email. Let's be sending an email. Oh, cool. So this is basically helping you guys find scripts, it looks like. We've got a script for that. So it looks like it's going to provide me with a script for sending an email. Type of follow-up. So let's see. You've got a new team of experts working for you. Just start typing and our library of scripts can help you stay in touch. Check out these popular scripts, new buyers, new sellers, website leads, returning referrals, and so much more. Okay, so I'm just going to use one of their keywords. Let's do referrals. No results. Okay, here we go. Referral looks like yields some results. You can request a referral from a past client, request a referral from an active client. So let's say I'm getting in touch with Bailey Smith to see if she has any referrals. So I'm going to do this one. Let's say she's an active client. I'll select this option. Build your business with referrals. Remember to ask current clients for a referral or introduction. Each client will likely know several people that may need your services. 41% of sellers use a real estate agent referred by friends or family. So sorry guys, we're all discovering this for the first time. This is brand new. So there's that little note from them. So it looks like what we do now is hit next. Awesome. Okay, so what we're doing is for Bailey Smith, we are going to request a referral from her. So this sets it up an email for you. It says, hi. You can enter their name. Hi, Bailey. And then it adds in this script. As you know, I've been working hard for you and blah, blah, blah. Basically, do you know anybody who is interested in buying or selling real estate? Adds in this cool little script. You can, of course, edit this, change it, add in more info, what have you, make it sound more personalized to you and how you actually talk. You can set that up. It just kind of gives you like a cool guideline. You can choose to change this or not, but it gets you started. They give you this awesome script. You can also attach anything on here. You can preview the email. Cool. Okay, so I'm just sending this to me. So let's go ahead and hit send email. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so from here, now you can send that email. We can add an action plan. So that's basically, now we can add a reminder for this person. Ooh. Follow up tomorrow, set a reminder to drop off business cards, follow up in a week. So I guess when you click add action plan, it's going to give you reminders to do these things. What did you learn? You can also add a note in here. Add a note for Bailey Smith. You could say like sent referral request on 11/15. Let's see what this does. And click save. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard now. Okay, so it looks like these are all of our, yeah, okay, so this is the note I just added. I said sent referral request on 11/15, and then it asked me if I wanted to add those action plans, and it did add in a task. It said active client referral, this is what we're working on, leave business cards with your contacts. So this is telling you, basically set up a reminder if you want to do this, to go to this person and drop off some business cards. So you can either mark this as complete or delete it or snooze it and push it back. And then it added this as well. No, this is one I added earlier. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. We'll probably make some more videos going over that new feature, but that's just kind of like a quick little run through of that. If you guys have further questions, definitely reach out. We're all learning this for the first time as this is brand new, but that's a really cool feature that they just added. So also in this More button over here, we can send listings. Very similar to setting up the listing alerts, but it's just like a one-time listing. Refer contact, that's, I forget what it was called before. It was like share or something. So you can send this to other agents, send this person. You can resend the welcome email. You can print this person's info, create a VCF file. That's so you can easily add them into your email, or you can delete them. So other cool options in here. The last thing, I know we're getting toward the end of class, last things I want to go over are importing and exporting contacts. Most people, if you have a bunch of contacts, the easiest way to enter them is to import them. So let's just go ahead and go over that pretty quickly. I'm going to go up to the top again and click Contacts. And I'm going to click the last option, which is Import/Export. All right, I'm going to start with exporting first since it is easier. Actually, let's just do importing because there's only 2 people in the database right now. Okay, so like I said, most of you, when you are adding new people to your database, you'll probably be importing them. That's the easiest way to get big groups of people into your database. I think we usually say if you have less than 10 people, it's probably going to be easier to just add them one by one. But if you have more than 10, definitely try importing. So step 1, select your type of contact list. If I go down here and click Please Select, we can choose Basic, Outlook. You can actually import from Top Producer, which is great, or My Real Estate, My Red Tools. Most of you will probably be choosing a basic contact list. Here it's showing us the minimum requirements. Same as if you're manually entering somebody, you have to have a first name, a last name, and then either an email address or it looks like a mailing address, but I believe this also works with just a phone number as well. So to import, you do have to use an e-edge template. You can't just create a spreadsheet and add them in. You can't download directly from like your email and add this in. You do have to basically reformat this into their template to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Download Basic Contact List Template. And this is going to give me what I need to add my contacts in. Can I change this? No. Okay. So I'm going to click Save. Make sure you know where that's being saved. And let's go ahead and open this up. All right, so this is my import template. It is in Excel, so you'll need some sort of Excel type program to open this. And as you can see on this first row, there are a lot of different categories. But fear not, you don't actually need all of this information. You just need that first name, last name, and then either an email address, a phone number, or some sort of physical like mailing address. So I'm just going to start adding people in so I can show you guys how we can upload these. I'm adding in a first name, last name, email. Maybe I have this person's cell phone number. I can add that in, or their work number. I can add in their anniversary, birthday, tons and tons of stuff on here. So company, CEO, there we go. Basically any information you have, you can find it, you can add it in here. They have a secondary email address, or I'm sorry, a second email address. This secondary contact one, if we open that up, secondary contact email, this would be the email for like their spouse or something. I have secondary first name and last name here, so let's just add in his wife, Casey. Perfect. Okay. One thing to note, you cannot change anything on this first row. So even if you try to like grab this and expand it to see what it says, that's going to mess it up. This thing is super finicky, so make sure you don't change the sizing on this first row. You don't change the text. Don't even touch it because it's going to tell you that it's not the right format. So let's see. Let's keep adding people. So for Leah, let's say I don't know her last name. I can just put a period in this box and then add in her email, and that will actually accept her. So that we'll still be able to import Leah's information because we have something in this box. So I'm just going to add, you have to have at least 5 people on here for this to import. So I'm just going to add a few people. Oop, that's not her last name. And one more. All right, so we have at least 5 people on here. They all have contact information. They all have a first name, last name, and then we have an email for all of them, which is great. So another thing to note, for importing, the first 5 people, so rows 2 through 6, have to be perfect. So if anybody in that first 6 rows has a bad email, like an email that doesn't work, or something's like not formatted properly, it won't take the list. So sometimes what we'll do is if we know for sure we have somebody who their contact info is good, what you can do is, let's see, who else works here? Let's do Alyssa. So what we can do is we can actually add this person in for the first 5 rows. What I will do is I'll just go ahead and expand this, make 5 copies of Alyssa's info, copy this. So I'm basically going to add this person in. Even though it's repetitive, it'll only import once. I'm going to add them in for the first 5 people. And I'll just go ahead and delete that. So this is just a trick you can do if you think you might have trouble importing, or if you do have trouble importing, I would say enter yourself. Put yourself in there with your email because you know it works for the first rows 2 through 6. And then it'll actually only import her once, but that's one way to ensure that your list actually does import. So let's just go ahead and try this out. I'm going to go up here to save this. So I'm on a Mac. If you're on Windows, I think you can just hit save and it'll be fine. But, oh, looks like it actually is. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to say class import 1115. So sometimes when I open this, it's automatically set to comma separated value. So even though that is a CSV file, for some reason it doesn't like this. So if you're on a Mac, I always recommend saving it as Windows comma separated. It's still a CSV file, but for some reason it accepts this one and not the other. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to save this. My database is good to go. So I'm going to go back into eEdge. And now we can go to step 2. Select your list import options. I can select a status. So all of these people will be imported and set to warm. I can select a type. and then I can select a group. So if you're importing people and you want them in different groups, please save them as the groups you want to import them as. Let's add these people to my 33 touch group. So if half these people, oops, that's not what I wanted to click. If half these people were supposed to be put in a separate group, I would recommend putting them on a different spreadsheet and uploading them in, at separate times. So you can only select one group from here. Attach and import, I'm going to go over here and choose the file from my computer. You can only upload 5,000 people at a time, so keep that in mind. And then I'm checking this box basically saying these people have opted in, I'm allowed to be emailing them. And now I'm going to click import. Perfect. So sometimes if you have a large file, that could take a lot longer, but we saw that message here that says successfully imported. So if we scroll down on this page, it says status of imported contact lists. So this one, you can see you can see the status, the date that it started, date that it ended, who added this, and then if it imported or failed, how many people. So this one here, it says waiting to run. This is the one we just added in. This will take a couple minutes. Sometimes we have seen it take a few hours if the system's going slow and you're adding a lot of people. So keep that in mind as well. It's a good idea if you're adding people to keep an eye on this section just to see what's going on with the file. But this is currently importing, but we can see for last month's class, we added people in on 10/18. Looks like it took, yeah, you can see this took over 2 hours. To import, so this has been going slow lately, just a heads up on that. It was uploaded by Scott Leroy. This is if you have shared access set up, you can actually share your database with your team members through eEdge. So this is showing who imported them into your account. You can see how many people were imported, and then if any failed, you can actually click on this number and it'll show you who and why. So it'll show what row, their name, the message type, and then the error. It'll say like this person's already in your database, incomplete info, the email doesn't work, something like that. So you can view all of that information here. So if you have a list and you had 200 people but only 150 imported, you can come back to this section and click on that number and actually see why they weren't able to be added. So another great feature there. But yeah, that is importing. Importing, like I said, is super persnickety. So if you have problems with importing your contacts, if you just can't get it to work, definitely feel free to send your list over to us, and we can help out because we know like kind of the tips and tricks to trick the system to make it take your contacts. So I know this can be super frustrating because it's super picky, but we are here to help you with that. So that's importing. Real quick, we'll go over exporting. I'm going to click on this option here. Now we're on the Export Contacts tab. This is great if you want a printout of your contacts, if you want to add them into another system, or even if you're leaving Keller Williams, you definitely want to pull out your contacts from here. So you can select by group. You can check the boxes next to different groups to export out. If you just want to pull everybody out, just don't select anything in here. And then contact status. I wish that this was set to all. Make sure you're choosing the right status. But if you only want to pull out leads, if you're maybe only calling leads one day, you can do that. But you can select by all or status. But if you want to just pull everybody out of here, make sure you change this to all. And then we can click export. This is going to give me a nice little Excel spreadsheet. I'll go ahead and pop this open and we can see, there we go. Our other people haven't imported yet. It's probably going to take a while, but you can see these are the people that I currently have in my database and all of their contact information. Last thing on this page, there are actually integrations that you can set up to have contacts automatically sync with your other systems. So if you click on this, view integrations, and is there another way to get? I think you can only get to it from this import and export page. Yeah. So what we can do is we can click view integrations. I'm not going to be able to go over this too much today, but you can connect your contacts through dotloop and these other systems. For Google, you do have to upgrade to Pro, but I think the one that most people use is the dotloop integration. So I would say if you're interested in this, check out this page. And if you have further questions, definitely get in touch with us and we can help you out. But that is actually about it for today. I know it was a very long class. We went over a lot of new stuff. So if you guys have further questions, feel free to reach out to us either by email or phone number. We're here Monday through Friday. I'll just go ahead and pull up our contact info really quick. Like I said, we're here Monday through Friday. Our emails are open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, and then you can contact us on our support line by phone 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. So if this page will load, here we go. Our contact info is down here at the bottom. So thank you guys again. That was database management with myKW. This class will be recorded and on our YouTube page and our website soon. So if you want to go over this again, send it to your friends, what have you, it'll be available soon. So thank you guys. Have a great day.